So this is long before computers. Everybody's still analog. We're either on cassette with the eighth inch tape or quarter inch tape, reel to reels, or what the 38 Tascam was a half inch reel to reel. This guy is actually a 1 inch reel to reel, you know, 1 inch tape, not half inch, and it's 16 tracks. I recorded an old song of mine from 1978 called I Miss You on the 1 inch as soon as I got it. And the memories and the sound playing with this machine, so much fun, so much fun. And then even a song called Seasonal Blues that I wrote during the pandemic because we couldn't get home for Christmas. Put all those parts and all the lead guitars and things on tape, played drums to tape, bass, sang. A lot of fun. It's still fun to play with it. I never had to do the serious recording with tape, like splicing and getting it right on the downbeat or any of those things. I was really good at punching in, though. Really good. Then, of course, after tape, we all went to ADATs. God knows how that became the industry standard because nobody liked them. But it was digital tape that you recorded analog sounds onto. And that was a lot to edit and move around because you had to remember numbers. And we had several machines. Once you had one ADAT, you'd get a second. I think I had 4 altogether. So then I have 32 tracks available to spill out on the Studio Master. And that was some really nice setups in different apartments I lived in or houses I rented. At Berkeley, I had met a keyboard player who actually played trumpet at the time, Cindy Brown, who was an arranging major and started a band, Too True. And her arrangements and ideas were just off the charts, just amazing, really great stuff. And she got interested in computers very early on. So her thing was, look, by the time 2000, well, no, she got a computer very early on because she was doing virtual tracks on one of those little cube Macs, back in the early days. We even did a show in the Performance Center and she had the Mac on stage and we got so much guff for it, like everything. I think she was just a trendsetter basically because now everybody uses a computer on stage, and she was just ahead of her time. She hardwired all of Harvard Business School, working in networking and just, all those technical computer gigs back then. Just doubling her income every time she switched jobs. It was amazing. But anyway, she was able to figure out lots of stuff with MIDI and sync tones. And we were going to all kinds of events at Berkeley. And Don Palouse was the chair at the time. I said to Don Palouse, hey, we've just made an album and I'd love to do a clinic and show everybody that we made an album ourselves and put it out ourselves and stuff. And he said, I don't think anybody'd be interested in that. Because that was 1989, 1990. Nobody was doing that. Everybody was hiring a studio and putting out albums. But it was our friend Matt Johnson, keyboard player, who I interviewed on my podcast, who gave us the thing, it's a tip, he said, don't put out an album because they don't even make sure Stevie Wonder's albums don't skip. Put out a CD. It'll sound great. It'll sound perfect. So our first album, Among the Ruins, came out on CD, and Shadow Language was the second album I ever made, all CDs. So Don Palouse wasn't interested in doing the clinic, and he was doing a clinic himself one day, and he said, well, in theory, you should be able to use a sync tone on one of your analog tape tracks and sync virtual instruments with all the synthesizers in your room. And we're waving our hands frantically going, we've done it, we've done it. It's not a theory, it works, So it was really funny. We also had a friend who said, you can't put out your own record. You need someone to believe in you. And you need to, have a company or a real label. And lots of people like Wayne Wadhams, he was like, you're not a real label because you don't have distribution. And, you're faking it. You're just kids with toys and you're not really doing it. It's like, I want you to know, if you're writing songs and you're playing with the gear and you're playing with microphones, you're doing it. That's the real thing. The fame and the fortune, the giant budgets, the drugs, the alcohol, that's not the real part of it. The real fun part of it is making the music. And we eventually did start a label, Feather Records, in 1989, and started a label and a publishing company and all those kinds of things. And, you know, you can do whatever you want. That's the greatest thing. So, you got to just keep with the ideas and keep going.